must have found the translation. It's page 67. O Venerable Vaishnav Thakura, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful to this servant of yours and purify me with the shade of your lotus feet. Your lotus feet I humbly hold. 2. By helping me control the 6 urges, and the footnote says, the 6 urges are those of speech, the mind, anger, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. And purifying me of the 6 faults. The 6 faults are overeating or collecting more materially valuable things than required, over-endeavoring for material objectives, unnecessary talking of mundane affairs, being too much attached to scriptural rules and regulations or too neglectful of them, associating with worldly-minded persons, and desiring mundane achievements. Bestow upon your servant the 6 good qualities. The 6 good qualities are enthusiasm, confidence, patience, performing the regulated activities of devotional service, giving up the association of non-devotees, and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. O Master, please give me the 6 kinds of holy association. The 6 activities of holy association are offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasadam, spiritual food, from others, and offering prasadam to others. O Master, please give me, I have sat down here hoping to have your company. Alone, I do not find the strength to chant the holy name of Hari. Please be merciful and blessing me with a drop of faith, bestow on me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours and you can give him to me, for such is your power. This wretch is simply running behind you, crying out, Krishna, Krishna. All right, let's have some reflections. Anyone? Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I think the crux is that we don't have the power to get Krishna Bhakti on our own strength. Only the spiritual master or pure devotees can bestow it upon us by their causeless mercy. So the last part, I actually like the last line very much. Amito Kangal, I have nothing. I'm only running after you. That should be our mood, shouting Krishna, Krishna.
So, BhaktiVinod Thakur teaches us this mood. I have nothing at all, no quality of my own. The soul is actually a small particle of Krishna, very, very small. And the problem in the material world, avidya, is to think I'm independent. We were talking yesterday, this is 4th of July, Independence Day. So the idea of the soul, I mean, speaking of also organizing things, and I was talking about Brexit, but also the Americans had their Brexit in 1776, or their exit from the British Empire, in India in 1947, right? 47. I always forget, 48, I think Israel was 48 or something like that. But yeah, there are so many countries have been created even in my lifetime. The maps keep changing and things. But that's the issue, it's political organization. But we're all actually very small, tiny particles. And all these, patriotic celebrations, they're, oh wow, our country is better, Sare Jahan Sacha. In the United States, it's the land of the free and the home of the brave, and like we've seemed to think that we've invented, moral government and democracy, and that nobody else has it, or something like that. Our president is considered the leader of the free world. And maybe there's historical reasons for all these things, but the point is that really we're all just little small spirit souls, and Krishna is really the supreme controller of all planets and demigods. And that's the actual position. And we don't have any way of actually knowing Krishna but through the Vaishnavas. And the Vaishnavas are pure reflections. They can explain Krishna, like BhaktiVinod Thakur says in this song. They have Krishna, and their power is they can give you Krishna. The Vaishnavas can give you Krishna. So we're dependent. Srila Prabhupada said there's 6 kinds of holy association. Srila Prabhupada said that I founded this internet in the nectar of instruction, which these 6 good qualities and bad qualities and holy association coming from these verses by Rupa Goswami. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport to that text number, is it 4? Yeah, I believe it's 4. Dadati pratikrinati guhyamakyati prichyati bhunkte bodhayate chaiva shadvidhang priti lakshanam. He says there that we've established this international society for Krishna consciousness for this purpose, that people may come and share these 6 kinds of holy association with Vaishnavas. That's part of our, that is our mission, if people associate with Vaishnavas, and then later they become serious, they get initiated, they practice bhajana kriya, they get rid of anarthas, and eventually they become nishta and get ruchi and all that. So the association, being able to learn to associate with Vaishnavas. And it's not that that goes away. Oh, now I no longer, I've passed from the sadhu sangha stage to the bhajana kriya, so I don't have to associate with sadhus anymore. No, it's always that even in the spiritual world, there's an association of Vaishnavas there. And we have to get trained so that we can associate with them properly and not, make mistakes that, even refined, even really advanced Vaishnavas, they have to learn how to not make rasabhasas that will disturb other, like Lord Chaitanya would have Swarup Damodar Maharaj read everything that people would want him to read so that he would only hear things that were pure and perfectly aesthetically proper. And there's a story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where someone wrote a poem and everybody thought, oh, it's a very good poem. But it said, it was glorifying Lord Chaitanya, and said, now there are 2 Jagannaths, and one is made of wood and one is moving. And then Swarup Damodar said, it didn't pass the test, that to think that Lord Jagannath is made of wood is a mistake, that one is the soul of the other, has become the soul of the other. So you have to be careful. Even advanced devotees or good poets may make little mistakes. But the Vaishnavas, the advanced Vaishnavas, they know and they can correct us and instruct us. And we make further and further progress until we can associate with all the Vaishnavas in Lord Krishna's company. The idea of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas is not to just be alone with Krishna and no one else. That kind of oneness. There's still a sense of becoming one that some poets have. That for me, I'm so focused on Krishna that I don't see anything else. But the Gaudiya Vaishnava mood is to enter into the association of the cowherd boys and the older gopis and gopas and the younger gopis and the cows and the trees and the birds and all the residents of Vrindavan. They're all, and to be in the association of so many Vaishnavas who are worshiping Krishna in harmony like that. Something else? Yes?
That was so inspiring when you read before about BhaktiVinod Thakur's daily schedule, how it's possible to combine so deep spiritual practice and to be so advanced and with very active social work and life.
Yeah, it's very inspiring that BhaktiVinod Thakur, in spite of being from his birth, Nitya Siddha associate of Lord Krishna, that he had as well as having this spiritual career that changed the face of the world, really, he also had a career in British government service that was very successful, and he maintained his family. He was brought up in opulent circumstances when he was born. His family had a big property and everything, and he got good schooling. And then when his father passed away, the family fortune was given to someone else. You know, it's like his father had like a life estate or something. And so then his family fell on poverty. Then he had gone away somewhere for education or something. When he came back, a cholera epidemic had destroyed his village and killed almost everyone there. And there were like 2 or 3 survivors. He took them to Calcutta to come live with him. But he had this career. I think about the Bhagavad Gita also, that Krishna tells Arjuna that I previously instructed it to the sun god. And then the sun god instructed it to Manu, and Manu instructed it to Ikshvaku. It's not just an instruction for yogis in a forest, but it's an instruction for kings. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. And, BhaktiVinod Thakur showed that he could be, at one time, a completely devoted person and still be engaged in government service and resolve issues. And also he resolved these like religious issues. For example, there was one yogi, this is just one example out of many in reading his pastimes today, but everyone knows this one yogi who used to lean into a fire. He would chant and he would lean into a fire and then lean out of fire, and he could make fire appear from his head, and he got many, many followers, and he had these tantric powers, and he had one associate who he said was Brahma, and one was Shiva, and he was Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and he actually brought some of the kings, local kings in Bengal under his control, and Orissa or wherever, and they were giving him money, and he was presenting literature that he was going to kick the British out of India and become in charge because he's Vishnu and he has this power. So the British government saw him as a revolutionary and a threat that way. Bhaktivinod Thakur saw him as an offender to Vishnu, like a Pondraka, claiming to be the personality of Godhead. But everyone was afraid to arrest him, and Bhaktivinod Thakur went there. Maybe I can read this pastime from here, if I can find it here, because it's interesting. In 1873, near the capital of Orissa, in the town of Kamanala, there lived a mystic named Bisakishena, who would lean into a fire, then return to an erect sitting posture. In this way, he'd rock back and forth over the flames. By his acquired mystic power, he could also produce fire from his head. He had 2 companions, going by the names of Brahma and Shiva. He claimed to be Mahavishnu. Together they were the divine trinity, the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the universe described in the sacred scriptures. Some of the lesser kings of Orissa came under the sway of him and were providing funds for the construction of a temple. They also sent him women. Bisakishena declared he'd drive off the British from ruling Orissa and would himself become king. He published such statements which were circulated all around Orissa. The British thought him a revolutionary for speaking out against the British rule, so the district governor of Bengal drew up arrest orders. However, nobody dared to act upon these orders, fearing Bisakishena's mystic powers. Mr. Ravenshaw, district commissioner for Orissa, requested Sri Kedarnath Datto to bring Bisakishena to justice. Sri Kedarnath Datto, Bhaktivinod, went personally to see Bisakishena. The yogi showed some powers that would normally scare off an ordinary man and informed Kedarnath Datto that he knew well who he was, but that since Bisakishena was the Lord, Kedarnath better not interfere with him. That was enough for Sri Kedarnath Datto, who replied by acknowledging Bisakishena's accomplishments in yoga and tantra and requesting him to come to Puri, where he could receive the blessings of Jagannath, the famous deity of Krishna there. Bisakishena haughtily replied, "Why should I come to see Jagannath? He's only a hunk of wood, and I am the Supreme in person." Sri Kedarnath Datto became furious. He arrested the rogue, brought him to Puri, and threw him in jail, where he was guarded by 36 constables and 72 policemen. The fearless Kedarnath Datta tried Bishakishena in Puri. The trial lasted 18 days, during which thousands of people whom he had control over gathered outside the courtroom demanding Bishakishena's release. On day 6 of the trial, Kedarnath Datta's daughter, Kadambini, became seriously ill and nearly died. Sri Kedarnath Datta knew it was the power of the tantric yogi at work. He remarked, "Yes, let us all die, but this rascal must be punished." The next day in court, the yogi announced he'd shown his power and would show much more. He suggested that Kedarnath Datta should release him at once or face worse miseries. On the last day of the trial, Kedarnath Datta himself became ill from high fever and suffered exactly as his daughter had. But the determined Kedarnath pronounced the man guilty and sentenced him to 18 months for political conspiracy. When Bishakishena was being readied for jail, the district medical officer cut off all his hair. Apparently, the yogi drew power from his long hair. He hadn't eaten or drunk during the whole trial, so he fell to the floor like a dead man and had to be taken to jail by stretcher. After 3 months, he was moved to the central jail at Midnapore, where he took poison and died. So that's one episode. But there are many such episodes in the life of BhaktiVinod Thakur, dealing with religious offenders, apostates and pretenders, and chastising them. In this case, at great risk to his family because of the power of the yogis. But people didn't understand sometimes BhaktiVinod Thakur's great power and who they were. And sometimes they later came and begged forgiveness and after quarreling with him. I read several of those stories today. Anything else about the song, O He Vaishnava Thakur? So actually, Vaishnava is very, very powerful, because Vaishnavas don't have mystic powers like that. They don't aspire for any mystic power to control anything. They just want to serve Krishna. There's a story of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and one of the brothers was thinking, if we had some nice milk, we could offer some nice sweet rice to the deity. And then a village girl brought a pot of milk. And then the other brother said, you rascal, we're worshipping, trying to please Radharani, but now today you've allowed her to serve you. So the devotees, because of their great love for Krishna, Krishna also has the same love and the same reciprocation. And so devotees have greater mystic power than the yogis, because Krishna is the source and master of all mystic power. So, the story of Durvasa Muni, that he couldn't defeat the devotional service of Ambarish Maharaj. So Vaishnavas are very, very powerful. So even this big tantric who was trying to kill BhaktiVinod Thakur by his power, he couldn't succeed. And that's the special power of the Vaishnava is that he can give Krishna consciousness. And one time in Hyderabad, someone asked Srila Prabhupada, what is his, could he show some mystic power? And he pointed at all his Western, European American disciples, boys and girls, and said, this is my mystic power, that I can make all these boys and girls mad after Krishna. That's the only power I have. But that's the most important power, Other powers, they can do the same thing with technology, right? Somebody can fly in the sky with yoga on a magic carpet or something, and somebody else can fly in an airplane, Someone can speak to someone across the world, but I can pick up a telephone and do that too. Maybe one is more subtle and more fine and more, beautiful, but it's the same things can be accomplished. But that love of Krishna, that's something that only the Vaishnavas can do and only the Vaishnavas can give, and nobody can get it on their own, not even by philosophy or austerity or mystic yoga, but it has to be gotten from the feet of a Vaishnava. Will you sing the Gurudev song? Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Gaurave Dashe. We'll have time for one more song, and then we'll start the letter from Tashi.
गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ए दासे तृण पे खाती ना। गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ए दासे तृण पे खाती